Yeah, Marcus Rashford. We want to see all our players actually performing. We want to see majority of our players performing. We actually want to see a lot of them up their level. And with Marcus Rashford, he hasn't started the season extremely well, right? His start to the Premier League season has been below average. And with Rashford, we always expect a high level. I expected a better level, a higher level, but right now we can see that he's trying to actually take accountability, right? He's doing some type of individual training, and not only is he training football wise, but we've seen a few boxing training, and I think this type of training is for his mentality. Mentality wise, Rashford, you need to actually take yourself to the next level. Mentality wise, boxing will improve your mentality. Overall, I think he's not doing these boxing trainings for football development. He's doing it for mental growth, mental stability. And with boxing, it actually does help you mentally, because when you get punched in the face, you won't really think about, oh, people are criticizing me. People are actually attacking me for my poor performances. And with Rashford, we just want you to be the player we actually know you can be. And taking accountability like this is the start. It's the start. If you can start training at a high level, start performing at a high level, because we know that Erik Ten Hag, he's not gonna drop Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford is his most valuable player, is his most valuable asset. We can see that Erik Ten Hag, he's not gonna drop Rashford. But if you're gonna do individual training, I'm happy that he's actually putting in the work. He's taken accountability and told himself, okay, I'm underperforming. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. So during this international break, I'm gonna improve myself and my abilities. I'm gonna improve myself. And boxing, it helps you mentally. Mentally, we can see he's not doing well. So what do? You start boxing. When you're boxing, you forget about all your problems. When somebody actually punches you in the face, you forget about, oh, this man was criticizing me, that man was criticizing me, because some of this training, boxing training, mentally, it's one of the hardest things, because dealing with that pain, you actually forget about a lot of your problems. You actually start improving on yourself, right? You start realizing what really means a lot to you. So his individual training is it's gonna help him mentally and physically as well. So Erik Ten Hag, he's impressed with this, and he's impressed with the fact that Rashford, he's actually taking his time off. Right now, most players that are not at international duties, players like Anthony, they're not training, right? He's just they're having fun. But Rashford, he said, no, I've started the season extremely poor. I'm gonna put in extra hours. I'm gonna put in extra work. And that's what you wanna see from your players, right? The statement that you're making by taking time off your own free time, right? If you're not going for international duties, a lot of the players have free time, but Rashford, he said, no, I'm going to use that time to train, to improve my mentality, to improve my physical ability, and overall, you just improve as a man, as a player with this training. And I'm extremely, I have to give him credit. I have to give him credit, because most players, they won't take the time out to improve themselves. Most players, they'll just they'll just continue with life. Okay, my season has started horribly. They're just gonna actually continue with their normal lives. They won't really care whether, oh, I'm putting in extra work, oh, I'm trying to rectify my wrongs. They don't really care. But with Rashford, he's come out and he's actually putting in that work. But this you gotta show this on the field, right? There's no point of training, but then the next game you're horrible, because our next game is what? Southampton away. We know that Rashford will start. The manager loves Rashford, so we know that Rashford will start. That's the game for you to actually impress us. That's the game for you to show the fans that, okay, I've started the season poorly, but I can change, but I can improve, but I can actually contribute something. The next game is where you show us, okay, my individual training has paid off. My individual work is benefiting me and the team, because we don't want you to actually train and not improve, train and not perform. There's no point of training if you're not gonna actually show it on the field, show it on the pitch, show it during the game. So Southampton, that's where you actually need to show the people that, okay, I'm back, I'm ready, and I'm here to perform. I'm here to be the man you rely on. And overall, it's good that you're training, but training isn't enough. You gotta show it on the field. And I can do individual training. Anyone can do individual training. But will that make us better football players? No. It's about what you do literally on the field. There's some players that barely train, but they are unbelievable at what they do. They are unbelievable at how they actually perform, how they actually turn up. Ronaldinho, he wasn't really a player you thought of, okay, he trains a lot. But his talent took him over the line. And with football, it's an unfair advantage. Football is an unfair advantage because some people, like Messi, they're just born gifted. Yeah, you can train all you want, but you'll never reach a level like Lionel Messi, because sometimes it's about what you really have, right? The unfair advantage you really have. And players like Messi, they have an unfair advantage to the other players like Rashford. So I understand you putting in the extra work, putting in those hard earned hours, but you have to show them on the field. And our next game, Southampton, that's where it actually starts. And for most of our players, their excuses last season was, oh no, we're not creating enough chances. But at Manchester United, you need players that, attacking players that create their own chances, right? You can't blame the midfield, oh no, I'm not getting enough chances. If you see players like Aguero, attackers like Aguero, those attacking players created their own chances. And at Manchester United, we need players, attacking players that create their own chances, not always relying on, oh no, today we didn't create chances, that's why I didn't score. Sometimes you have to create your own opportunities. Sometimes you have to create your own chances in life, and that's life in general, right? You can't rely, oh no, the midfield is not creating chances, that's why I'm not performing, that's why I'm not scoring. You can't always blame other people. You gotta take accountability and take it responsibility. That responsibility has to come to you. This is your career, not other people's career. So Rashford, this season, there are no more excuses for Marcus. We expect a certain level from you, game in, game out, game in, game out. And if you can actually perform the way you performed in that season, where you scored 30 goals and contributed so much to the team, every fan will be happy, right? If Rashford goes into the next game, scores, and has a great performance, nobody will criticize you. So this is the first step, right? Individual training, putting in extra hours. This is the first step. Although, yes, you can train, but what you show on the field is what matters the most. Because you can train like a madman, and then against Southampton, if you have a poor performance, people will still criticize you. We're going to still criticize you if you have a poor performance on Saturday. So right now, international football, it's a bit boring, but what we've seen during the weekend is that Legends game. Manchester United, they had a Legends game, and what we can actually capture from that game is that how the level has dropped, how much our level has dropped. Because you saw Michael Carrick in that game, Paul Scholes in that game, Wayne Rooney in that game, Berbatov in that game. They just showed you a different type of level. Technically, they don't have pace and power. The players, the legends that were playing on Saturday, they didn't have pace and power, but they had technical ability. And it shows you how far we've fallen as a club. Manchester United, our technical ability has fallen so much, right? Because we saw how Michael Carrick was passing the ball around, controlling the midfield. We don't have anyone like that anymore, right? That Legends game shows us you don't need pace and power to actually perform in football. We saw Wayne Rooney, right? This man, he can't run, but he still scored an unbelievable free kick. Technical ability is important in football. Wayne Rooney, he's still performing and he can't run, right? He can't run anymore. He's still scoring free kicks. How many players in our team can score a free kick like what Wayne Rooney did on Saturday? None of them. So this actually shows you how far our team has fallen. The technical ability in this team has fallen so much. And as a team, as a club, we need to actually reinstore that. We need to bring back players like Carrick in our midfield. Bring back attacking players like Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney was the type of player that created his own chances. But right now, we have attacking players like Anthony complaining about, no, I don't get service. I don't get this. You can't always make excuses, right? This is Manchester United. We should have the best players. We should have the best individuals to compete. And with our defenders, we've seen some brilliant performances from the players that are playing during international break, for their national countries, but that doesn't mean anything if you come back and have a poor performance, right? International football and club football are different to a high scale. They're actually different at a high level because you can perform during international football. But club football, the intensity is higher, the risks are higher. The Nations League and some of these international friendlies, they don't really mean anything. Sometimes players, they don't take these seriously, right? Even some managers, they don't take international football seriously unless it's a major tournament like the World Cup. So right now, we can't pay any attention to the performances during international break because they won't reflect with Manchester United. If our players come back from their international break and have unbelievable performances, I'm going to clap for them. Okay, cool. You've come back from your international duties and then you've actually upped the level, because we shouldn't forget Liverpool completely dominated us, completely destroyed us. So all the players that actually started against Liverpool, you have a lot to prove in the coming months, in the coming weeks, right? Because before January, you have a lot to prove. You have a lot to prove to the board that, okay, I'm good enough. You shouldn't replace me because I'm good enough. This season, for a lot of the players, it's judgment day. It's judgment season because you can be replaced instantly. And we've seen how Sir Jim Ratcliffe is moving. He has no time for, let's experiment. Let's give this player time. This season is judgment day. Anthony, this season is judgment day, right? This is your judgment. Marcus Rashford as well. This is your judgment. The board won't give you time to improve. The board won't give you time to actually prove yourself next season. This is the season you have to do it. This is the season you have to take your chance. This is your last opportunity. Most of these players, this is your last opportunity at Manchester United, because the next summer window, there are already rumors coming out that, okay, Manchester United, they want a defender, they want a midfielder most importantly, and they're also looking at Eze from Crystal Palace. He's one of the names that they actually want. So you can see that next season, they'll pay more attention into the attacking areas. This season, it was about stabilizing your defense, right? Stabilizing your defending players. Right now, we have De Ligt, we have Lenny Yoro, we have Mazraoui. Those players, although we lost badly against Liverpool, those players up your level. Those players up your performances. And with Manchester United, we want to see a team that can compete with Manchester City. I think a lot of fans are tired of just seeing Man City run away with the league, Man City run away in the Champions League. Sometimes you're even praying, oh, let's hope Real Madrid stop Man City. We shouldn't be praying for another team to stop Man City. We should be actually competing for that trophy. We should be competing for the Champions League. I think a lot of fans, they're tired of just watching Man City perform, watching Man City play unbelievable football while we're struggling against most teams in the Premier League. So right now, it's judgment day. It's judgment season. For the manager, it's judgment day. For the players, it's judgment day. This season is where you prove yourself. Show us, okay, I'm ready to take myself to that next level. I'm ready to bring a major trophy. I get that Erik Ten Hag, he's excited winning back-to-back trophies, but this is Manchester United. Under Sir Alex, we never used to take the Carabao Cup seriously. Sometimes we never took the FA Cup seriously. He used to play academy players. So Alex Ferguson used to play academy players in such competitions. So the only time you can actually be confident and flex about, oh, we won trophies is when you win a major trophy. If Erik Ten Hag won back-to-back Premier League trophies, nobody would be questioning him. Nobody would have doubts or questions over the manager if you won the Premier League, if you won the Champions League, if you were competing with Manchester City. It's about your ability to compete. That's all the fans care about. Can you compete? Can you bring us trophies? That's all we care about. All this extra, this and that. I'm not Harry Potter. Fans don't really care about that. They only want to see Manchester United compete with the biggest teams, the best teams. And it starts on Saturday, Southampton. That's when it genuinely starts. And I've seen Anthony actually respond to some of the criticism, and there are rumors that he's trying to get a move out. He's trying to get a loan deal out, but Erik Ten Hag is fighting to actually keep Anthony. And I think in situations like that, like this, we still need Anthony. Although he's a poor player, he's horrible, but you can see we're going to have a lot of games this season, right? Europa League is about to start. Carabao Cup starts in a week. Next week, we're playing Carabao Cup. In 2 weeks, we're starting Europa League. So we can't afford to let Anthony go on a loan, because we'll need him in some of these Carabao Cup games. We'll need him in some of these irrelevant games, right? The beginning of the Carabao Cup, you need a player like Anthony. So right now, he's trying to force a move out, but I think as a club, as an institution, you can't let him go because we can't bring in anyone else because the transfer window is closed. And there are reports about Rabiot. I think Rabiot, if you get him on a free, he just gives you an option, right? An option you can have, an option you can actually take, because we saw against Liverpool, we had to bring in an academy player from the bench into our midfield. So at least if you bring in someone like Rabiot, that's the player you can actually bring in, right? Against Liverpool, we had to bring in an academy player from the bench after Casemiro had a disastrous performance. So if you bring in someone like Rabiot, he can be an option off the bench, because the games, they're going to increase. They're going to increase. A lot of these players, they'll start breaking down because these games are coming fast. And with the Europa League, the new Europa League format, you play more games. You face more teams. So we're going to play more games than we did last season, right? Europa League, there are more matches. Carabao Cup is starting next week. So we're going to actually play more games than we did last season. So if you add someone like a Rabiot into the team, he's going to add a lot of options, right? He's going to prevent a lot of injuries. We saw what happened when you overplay some of these players, right? They get injured and injury crisis will come again. So I think it's a good option for Manchester United to take. bring in someone like Rabiot. He's going to improve your options. He's going to improve your overall midfield because it's better to play Rabiot over an academy player, right? Because in the Liverpool game, if you had Rabiot over an academy player, you're actually seeing a better outcome. You're actually expecting a better performance. So overall, I just want to see this team perform. I just want to see us as a club take ourselves to the next level, right? You have a few weeks to actually get settled because October, that's when the crazy fixtures come. That's when you're playing incredible teams, right? Teams like Arsenal. That's when the test actually begins. So this month, September, I expect us to actually get points in all the teams we're facing because September, it's probably our easiest month. September is probably our easiest month because October, December, you're playing teams like Arsenal, teams like Manchester City. So right now, September, you capitalize, win all the games in this month. That's what we want to see. Regain some points, regain some momentum, regain some type of pride and dignity by winning game by game back-to-back games. That's going to genuinely help you as a club. September is your easiest month because I've looked at the fixture list. October is crazy. December is crazy. So right now, September it's the only month you can actually recoup some type of points. It's the only month you can actually gain some type of points, gain some type of notoriety, right? Because October, you're facing difficult teams. December, you're facing difficult teams. And overall, Man United, don't put yourself into a situation where by October, top four is gone. I don't want to reach that type of situation. By October, top four is gone. If you lose 2 more games this month, top four is gone. That's realistic. We can realistically say top four is gone if we lose 2 more games this month. So this month, you cannot drop any points. It's a massive, massive month. God has given you easy teams. Our attack is the worst now. Our attack, bro, I have no hope with our attacking players. Sometimes we're struggling to score. We're struggling to take easy chances, basic opportunities. And with Manchester United, we need to actually reach that position where you're the dominating team. You're dominating other people. You're dominating games. And that's what we need to actually expect from Manchester United. We're the type of team that needs to be challenging for the Premier League, challenging for the Champions League. Even us being in Europa League, it's embarrassing. Man United in Europa League and you're comfortable. That's embarrassing, right? That's embarrassing. So it shows us how far we've fallen. Because if you watch the Legends game, you can see the attacking players that were there. Berbatov, Rooney, these guys in their prime, they weren't crying, ooh, the midfield are not creating for us. That's why we're not scoring. No, they were creating their own opportunities. Wayne Rooney, he was creating his own opportunities. But with our new attacking players, they're always complaining. It's always, oh no, we're not receiving enough chances. Oh no, the team is underperforming. That's why I'm underperforming. But as an individual, you actually reflect from your own performances. You can't criticize the team for your own bad performances, for you giving the ball away. There are games where Rashford is constantly giving the ball away. That's not on the team. That's on you. So sometimes you have to take accountability. There are games when Anthony, he misses clear-cut chances. That's on you, not on the midfield creating chances, right? So sometimes you have to take accountability. Our team lacks accountability. They lack that precision to actually accept that, okay, I'm not good enough and now it's time to put in extra work. Because this is judgment day for all the players, all the people we're seeing right now. This is actually judgment day. If you don't perform, if you don't take yourself to that next level, you're going to get left behind. You're going to be sold by Manchester United. And overall, I can see what the board are trying to do with the young players. We've signed some young talents, a young player from Mali and also a young player from Arsenal. And reports are saying we're gonna see these players this season. This season, the young players we've signed, especially that 16-year-old from Arsenal, a lot of reports are saying we might see him probably in the Carabao Cup or probably in the early stages of the FA Cup. We might see that young player we signed from Arsenal in some of these games. And you can see the strategy from the board. They're signing young players for the long-term vision. And these are not average young players, right? That young player from Arsenal, he scored a lot of goals. He was seen as, okay, he's one of the best strikers in academy football. So for Manchester United to actually get him into our club from Arsenal, it's actually a massive statement. We're making massive statements. This summer, we've made massive statements. Lenny Yoro, De Ligt, all the players we brought in are massive statements. But now it's for the final piece. It's time for that final piece. If you think Erik Ten Hag can't perform, you need to move on. As a club, you need to move on, right? Accept your bad decisions before they get worse. Take accountability before it gets worse. Because in life, if you keep making the same mistake, it's gonna hurt you in the long run. So you need to take accountability and say, okay, we made a mistake with the manager, let's change him now. But if the board think Erik Ten Hag has shown them something that proves himself, that shows that, okay, he can change, then I'm willing to give the board time, right? We don't know the behind the scenes. We don't know what Erik Ten Hag is showing these board members. And this is a new board. So obviously they want to impress. They want to actually perform. So they're not going to risk underperforming for Erik Ten Hag. They're not going to risk that, right? None of these board members are going to do that, risking underperforming, risking their own reputation to back Erik Ten Hag if they think Erik Ten Hag isn't good enough. Right now, they think Erik Ten Hag is their guy. They came out publicly, backed him. So right now, they're not going to risk their jobs and their reputation for someone they don't believe in. So we just have to see. We just have to wait and see. Maybe Erik Ten Hag, he's shown them something behind the scenes. He's given them a great explanation on why we're underperforming. We don't know exactly what's happening, but what we do know, what we do expect is an improved performance. This month, we do expect better results. This month, it's going to be hard for you if you don't perform. The manager, it's going to be hard for you if you don't actually win all the games. Yeah, by 1 year, right? But that still shows some type of confidence. If you're willing to extend his contract by 1 year, it shows that, okay, you're willing to risk this season, right? You're willing to actually waste this season for someone you don't believe in. Because if you really didn't believe in him, you'd have actually got rid of Erik Ten Hag and brought in an interim coach, right? At least right now, as fans, we're looking at this season and saying, yeah, normally it would be 3 years, but since it's 1 year, you can still see that, okay, they're seeing out his contract, but that still gives him a bit more time, right? Because this season, you should be competing for Champions League. You should be competing for top four, for the Europa League, for other trophies. So risking that 1 year extension actually hurts us in the long run. Because next season, if we don't get top four, we're in the Europa League again. So what Ineos are doing, they're actually hurting their own reputation. Because next season, we want to be in the Champions League. We want to compete for that Champions League trophy. So them extending Erik Ten Hag by 1 year, it shows some type of confidence because you're risking one season. And one season is a lot of time in football. One season is massive in football because other teams, they're improving, right? Liverpool, they got in a new manager. He's improving. He's actually selling in and telling the board what type of players he wants. We want that situation where you bring in the man you want and then you back him. There's no point of backing Erik Ten Hag for 1 year, bringing in players he wants, because some of the players we signed this season, these are players Erik Ten Hag wants. You don't want that situation where you back him for 1 year and then next year you have to sell all the players you brought in for him. Because some of the players we actually signed this season are because of Erik Ten Hag. De Ligt, he's the one that was pushing the De Ligt signing, right? The board were pushing for Lenny Yoro, but Erik Ten Hag was pushing for De Ligt. So you don't want a situation where the next manager, he doesn't like the players Erik Ten Hag brought in. So if you're gonna stick with Erik Ten Hag, if you're not gonna stick with Erik Ten Hag, you should have replaced him, right? It's time to actually replace him if you're not gonna stick with him. So there's no point of spending all this money on Erik Ten Hag if you're not gonna stick with him in the long run. That's just like my viewpoint on the situation. Because if you're gonna back this man with so much money, but you don't believe in him, it doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense for you to give him all this money if you're gonna get rid of him in a year. It's better to bring in the person you actually trust, the person you actually believe in. If they brought in Thomas Tuchel and then backed Thomas Tuchel in the transfer window, I'll be okay with that, because that's the guy you believe in. Bring in the guy you believe in and back him financially. Back the person you believe in financially. And overall, we're seeing a situation with Manchester United with the managerial position. It's a bit disorganized, because if you don't believe in this manager, why are you giving him so much money? That's my only question. That's my main question for the board. So I think behind the scenes, he's given them a reason to believe in him. Behind the scenes, they actually do believe in him, because they wouldn't give him this much money if they don't believe in what he's doing. It doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really make sense, because in football, we know that managers, there's some players they like, some players they dislike. The next manager can come in and say, no, De Ligt, he's not my guy, right? Sell him. Like what happened at Bayern Munich, right? Vincent Kompany went to Bayern and then said, no, De Ligt, I don't want him in my squad, sell him. This guy, I don't want him in my squad, sell him. So managers, they have different preferences. You can't expect the next manager to love our current players. So if you're going to back, if you don't believe in Erik Ten Hag, don't give him this much money. Don't give him this much backing, because I want this money to go to a manager that you actually believe in. But maybe behind the scenes, this was what Ruud van Nistelrooy wants, right? Maybe they're also talking to Ruud van Nistelrooy. Maybe he's the guy to come in and replace Ten Hag. He's the guy to step in and actually take the team. Because I do believe some of the players we've signed, Ruud van Nistelrooy has been impactful on these players. So maybe they're not buying players for Erik Ten Hag, they're buying players for Ruud van Nistelrooy. Maybe he's the next guy. Maybe they've already made a secret contact with Ruud van Nistelrooy. Hey, when we fire Erik Ten Hag, you step in. What player do you want? Oh, you want Lenny Yoro? Okay, let's get him for you. Oh, what player do you want? Oh, you want this guy? Let's get him for you. So I think behind the scenes, they have a plan. We probably don't know what their plan is, but they have a plan. Either they're backing Erik Ten Hag, or either Van Nistelrooy is the second option, or either they already have a manager coming through. Maybe they're waiting for another manager. Maybe they're waiting for the Spain manager. This Spain manager, he's actually done well with Spain. We can see how he's playing. We can see how he's performing with Spain. So maybe behind the scenes, they already have a plan. Because when they came in, Ineos, people should remember, when they came in, they already had a plan to bring in Omar Barada, these Dan Ashworth. People didn't really know their plan when they came in. But it just happened instantly. It just happened at the same minute, right? Nobody knew that, oh, Dan Ashworth was going to come to the club when Sir Jim Ratcliffe arrived. Nobody knew about the people that have come in. Nobody knew about Ruud van Nistelrooy. So maybe right now they have a genuine plan. that people don't know about. We don't know about their actual plan. But maybe behind the scenes, they've already discussed it. Behind the scenes, they already know their next step. These are businessmen, right? So Jim Ratcliffe, you don't make billions like this without knowing your next step. The manager is like a CEO of a company, right? So with these business owners, they already know their next step. If a CEO of their company, if a general manager of their company is underperforming, they're going to replace them like this. And they already know who to bring in next. Maybe Ruud Van Nistelrooy is that guy. Maybe it's another manager. But right now, the situation I'm asking, the question I'm asking is, why are you spending so much money if you don't believe in Erik Ten Hag? Right? Spend that money for a manager you do believe in. So right now, as fans, we just have to be patient. I think patience pays in life in general, because if you wait and just see what they're cooking, right? Let's give them one season. This season, let's give Sir Jim Ratcliffe the benefit of the doubt, since all the things he's actually done, right? Transfer window, we've been brilliant. All the board members that have come in, they've been brilliant. So this season, let's give him the benefit of the doubt, right? So Jim Ratcliffe, I genuinely believe in him. I'm going to give him the time to prove himself, right? Because he's a businessman. If Erik Ten Hag doesn't do what he wants him to do, he's gone instantly. So I'm backing Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I'm backing the vision, because I've already seen some outputs that make sense. Bringing in new defenders, that made sense. Bringing in new board members, that made sense. So overall, I think they're trying to build a foundation board level, and then you build a foundation team level, and then after that, you get your final piece, the manager. You get your final piece. And that's what Manchester City did. Before Pep Guardiola came, they were actually talking to him. Okay, what player do you want? Oh, you want this guy? You want Kevin De Bruyne? Let's bring in. Let's sign him before you come in. And that's what Manchester City did. And we have a guy from Manchester City, Omar Barada. So probably they have the same strategy. Okay, let's talk to the manager we actually want. Let's build the team for the manager we actually want, and then give Erik Ten Hag a 1-year extension. And then next season, the manager they really want comes in. Maybe it's Ruud Van Nistelrooy. Maybe it's another guy. But we just have to wait and see, right? Patience pays. Sometimes, I know as fans, we want results. But overall, it's a positive start to the how the board are actually rebuilding. It's a rebuilding process. And overall, this season, we just watch and see, right? I'm not going to criticize Ineos. This season, I'm going to give them time. I'm going to give them patience. But next season, that's when we start asking real questions. This season, they're still settling in. Next season, we start asking real questions. And overall, we can see as a team, as a club, we're moving in the right direction. Yes, results aren't there. But the fact that we're getting players like Lenny Yoro, the fact that we're getting people like Omar Barada into the club, it's a positive sign. And overall, that this will actually benefit us in the long run. If Erik Ten Hag doesn't perform, I know the next manager will have a good foundation, will have a good board foundation to actually perform, will have support in the board area, support in the coaching staff. And overall, that's all you need as a manager. That sustainable support will take you a long way. And overall, yeah, we're in for a hard test. Yeah, results. We just want better performances. I agree with what you're saying. If we get better performances, if we see better football as Manchester United, I'll be happy, right? Better performances lead to better results. Because if you perform extremely well, the results will come. The results will come. So right now, it's about those performances. Because the performance against Liverpool, it was a disaster. Disastrous performance. And as Manchester United, you need to be working to improve the individual performances, the individual keys. And overall, we just have to give the board time. I think they already have a plan. We just can't see the plan. Overall, they're going to show us a genuine plan. They've shown us competence and reliability with the appointments they've made. And now I think they're going to appoint the right manager and the right people for Manchester United. I just want to thank everybody that tuned in and yeah, enjoy the rest of your days.